So you can tell from the box, I have a Zelos to show you guys today, and not just any Zelos. This is the new Mako version 3 in titanium with the extra hard coating. This is actually a very, very nice watch, especially considering the price. I'm going to get right into it. It is really the same Mako that we have gotten recently, the version 3 with all of the upgrades. It comes in the exact same packaging. It comes in that outer wood box, which looks like a cigar box. This is the thinner box because inside we have that zipper pouch, which a lot of people are sort of back and forth on. I like it. I like that they've actually replaced the watch roll that they have given us for many years. I actually prefer something like this for travel. However, I do see some of the points that are being made on the Zelos Facebook group. That's the Zelos Timekeepers. If you go on to that Facebook group, there's a lot of people who don't like this case because it doesn't really protect the watch as well as a roll, because you're sort of hanging out there with the case. It's very hard to get the case into these little pouches on either side. So if you're putting more than one watch in here, you may scratch your watch. So, or more than two watches, you may scratch your watch. So technically not as good for a travel purpose, but very, very nice for other purposes too. It's just a nice pouch in general. Of course, you get the warranty card right there. It's just that perforated metal warranty card that we are used to with Zelos. And here is the watch. So it is a very light watch. It's made out of 100% titanium. I think the only thing that is not titanium on the entire watch is the actual mechanism for the micro adjust, but everything else is. And it's essentially the same Mako version 3 that we knew for a little while in stainless steel and in bronze. However, this is a full titanium bracelet, full titanium case, bezel, case back, and crown. Basically, like I said, I believe the buckle itself is all in titanium except for just that mechanism. Other than that, everything else is in titanium. You get a 40 millimeter case, which is a little bit bigger than 40 millimeters depending on where you're actually measuring it from. If you're measuring it including this crown guard, because the Mako version 3 sort of gets that design element where it gets a single crown guard that's sort of swooping across the case. And it's really nice, very big beveled edges that are polished. Really nice on this watch, actually stands out really nicely. That measures around 41 millimeters or 40.8 millimeters is what I measured. However, if you measure actually without that crown guard from around where this lug meets the case and this lug meets the case, it's around 39.9 millimeters, so almost spot on 40 millimeters. And then the lug to lug is a little bit bigger than the said dimension of 46 millimeters. That's because you're getting these protruding end links, these male end links, so you get around a 52 millimeter lug width. However, on a strap, it should wear like a 46 millimeter lug width, as you can see. Then the thickness is around 15.5 millimeters thick. That's not including the domed boxed sapphire crystal, which has AR coating. It comes out to about 14.1 millimeters thick, including that sapphire crystal. Of course, you get a loomed ceramic bezel. The bezel on here, action with Zelos, always is really good. Let's listen to that. And it's actually surprisingly good considering this is a titanium watch. Now, is it as good as their stainless steel and bronze versions? I would say no, and that is only because it is titanium. And titanium, the reason why it's not as good is because of the metal. You're not getting that same action, that same feel. With titanium, it's a lot harder to achieve a very, very solid sort of feeling. It gives it a little bit of a tinny feel when you're going around. But this is very, very solid. It doesn't move. Feels really good. Everything lines up very nicely. And it's just a really nicely made watch. You could feel that it's a very nicely made watch. Of course, the ceramic bezel is loomed. Two things that Zelos or Zelos, whatever you want to call them, do really, really well. One is lume. They focused in on lume a long time ago and put a lot of lume on all of their watches. Of course, this is no exception. This gets the C3, X1, and BGW9 mixtures on the bezel, the crown, the dial, and the hand, so the indices and hand. So there is a lot of lume here. We're going to do a lume shot. Usually Makos excellent with lume. I believe even the minute track is lume, but we'll do that at the end. I don't remember if that's the Swordfish or the Mako. I've owned a few Makos in my day. I really do love the Mako, and I think it's one of the best watches that Zelos make, in my opinion. Although a lot of people will argue the Swordfish 40 is better, and I have to say that Swordfish 40 is an amazing, amazing watch. And it's a really great value. It's kind of thin as well. This is a 300-meter dive watch, so it does have a little bit more diving capability. Again, it's 100 meters more than the Swordfish, but really doesn't matter. I believe the Swordfish 40 is only 200 meters. You get a screwed-in crown, screwed-in case back. Of course, you get that Mako shark on the back. This is smooth as butter. Really no issues with this case back. That's always been a pain point for Zelos in general, and I think that they have completely addressed this. Elshan has addressed that. He has also addressed the fact that this was a little bit rough. That's been taken care of, the Z on the actual clasp itself. They moved over to this single sort of fold over clasp a little while ago, and I think it works really well. Very similar to Christopher Ward. All you need to do is pull on that little button, and then you pull out, and then you could just adjust the bracelet. Right now there's some plastic on here. It's a little bit crunchy, but as it works in, it really does work in very nicely. Just really nice clasp, especially considering the price. We're going to get to that in a second. Screwed links, of course, and then you have an oyster style bracelet. The oyster style bracelet is all titanium, as we mentioned, and the case, the bracelet, everything on the watch gets a hard coating, which actually makes this a very, very tough watch. It's full titanium plus that extra hard coating. As you know, titanium does scratch very easily, so they decided to put an extra hard coating, which ups the Vickers scale on this watch to 1200, I think it was around there. It's scratch resistant, so that's actually pretty good. This is the teal dial. You have that whirlpool dial that we are all pretty used to with Zelos now. It's a beautiful, deep blue color towards the center, and as you get to the outer portions of the dial, it is sort of a black blue color. And it really looks good. Applied indices, those indices are filled with lume, just a little bit of a red accent there above the date, which is at the 6 o'clock. The hands on here, lume, they're sort of a combination of stick hands and sword hands, I guess you would call it. But beautiful, really nicely applied. And then, of course, you get an applied logo with the Z logo there. Works really well. Crown, signed and then loomed. We'll do a loom shot. We'll show you that in just a few minutes. All in all, a really pleasing watch. Really feels nice in the hand. Feels like a high quality watch. You get a Miyota movement in it. It is the 9015 because you do have the date. And of course, a workhorse movement. Really reliable, robust movement made by Miyota, Citizen, so it's a very good movement. And the finishing in general on this watch is very, very nice considering the price. Now, I will talk about price. $449 gets you a fully titanium watch, automatic Miyota movement, a textured dial with a very rich blue color to it. It's a fume dial as well, so you see that gradient from a very, very dark black to blue towards the center. Just a beautiful watch. It's finished very nicely, so the case is finished very nicely. You get brushing, polishing, bead blasting on the back. The case back is engraved, and then it has brushing and bead blasting. The bracelet itself is basically all polished except for a beautiful edge that goes across the entire bracelet. It's actually a very wide polished edge on the top of the bracelet itself. That actually matches the bevel that is done on the actual lugs. The lugs, it's done on the bottom of the case and on the top of the case and lugs. So from the case profile, it's actually pretty interesting looking. And you could see there is a lot of light play there. And they have really upgraded the feel of this watch in general from previous Mako versions, the Mako version 3 in general, stainless steel or bronze or titanium. In general, it's just a huge step up from the version 2, which was a huge step up from the version 1. And then you get just basically a brushed bezel, very grippy as we showed you before. Just a really awesome watch. Screwed-in crown and a color match date wheel as well. That's the other little detail there. I'm going to throw it on my wrist. $449, as I mentioned, I think is for this teal version. I think it goes up to only like $469 if you want the mother of pearl version, which I really like. It gets a blue bezel, and then it gets a mother of pearl dial, which is very similar in color to this, but a different pattern, obviously, because it is mother of pearl. It's not a fume dial. Beautiful dial on that. Very quickly, let me show you the watch I have on today, and it is an awesome watch. It is the Mirage. Today I have the Mirage on. I am really excited to bring this to you guys as well. Also in titanium, it also gets that extra hard coating. Basically, that extra hard coating is a PVD coating or a DLC coating. I'm pretty sure it might be DLC, which adds a lot of scratch resistance for titanium. Titanium is a scratch magnet, and adding this coating will make the longevity of titanium a lot longer. You won't need to get it refinished. It's hard to refinish titanium, so it's good that they're doing that. Just an awesome, awesome watch. Look at the case back on here. This gets the Le Jeu Perret movement in it. It's an 8-day movement. We're going to do a full review and unboxing. The unboxing on that is going to be hard because the packaging is huge. Now, I have not actually fitted this to my wrist, but I am very familiar with the Mako. It fits me phenomenally. I love this watch. It wears like a 40mm watch. It does not wear bigger than that. It sits down nicely on the wrist. It does not wear like a 14mm thick watch. It's 14mm because of that very domed sapphire crystal. So you do get that boxed, and then there is a dome. So even if you're measuring it from the edge, there's still like a millimeter till you get to the middle. So it is actually very, very high, that sapphire crystal. The bracelet feels very, very nice. Fits very nicely on my wrist. Just a great looking watch and a great feeling watch. And it's actually pretty light. So very quickly, let's do a lume shot and then we will wrap up the video. The lume on Zelos, always good. So let's check this out. And then, like I said, wrap up the video. So if there's a few things that you could always count on from Zelos in general, there's actually 4 things I would say. Great lume. You're always going to get great lume. You're always going to get really good bezel action. It doesn't really matter if it's titanium, bronze, stainless steel. They pay attention to that. So great lume, great bezel action, and then, of course, great value. They're always going to give you great value, and they're always going to be trying to push the limits, push the envelope on improving. So they're trying to improve constantly. They're listening to reviews. They're listening to the people in their Facebook group on the complaints about their watches, if they have any. And a lot of people don't. You know, a lot of people do not have any complaints about these watches, and some people do. I mean, everybody's got something. There's no perfect watch out there, so someone's going to complain about something. And I think that they listen and they sort of make those small incremental improvements with each release. Even though this is a version 3, I reviewed the version 3 in stainless steel. That had sort of a rough patch on the actual buckle. They've improved that, and that's no longer an issue. So they are listening. They're constantly improving. $449 for a titanium watch that is at this level, I think, is really good. Now, what they're doing is the next level of watches, like that Mirage that I just showed you, with that really high-end Swiss-made movement. It's from Citizen, so it is part of the Citizen group, but that part of Citizen Group is a really high-end manufacturer. They've been around for a while. And they make some really high-end movements for some amazing companies like Arnold & Son and a whole bunch of other brands. In fact, they are very high-end movements, and that is a very high-end movement. That's an 8-day hand-wound movement. And what Zelos are doing, and I believe that they are doing this pretty soon, they're developing an automatic movement that they're going to be using in their movements, in their watches, to replace ETA movements. So instead of a 28-24, they want to start using a Le Jeu Perret movement in actual dive watches. Now, I am super excited about that, and I hope they put a display case back on there, and I will definitely be jumping on board on those. So definitely stay tuned. I will be featuring that when it comes out on my channel 100%. Nothing's going to stop me. I really want to. I'll be doing a full review on this watch. I'll be wearing it. I'll be doing an unboxing and full review on this watch. I am super excited about this watch. It actually gets lume. The lume's actually really good on here. So I'm very excited about that. I'm already wearing that one. So definitely stay tuned. And definitely leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think of this watch. Tell me what you think of Zelos in general. What they're doing, those 4 things that I just mentioned, the value and constant upgrading of watches. They're also making Halo watches that are actually sort of affordable, even though that's a very expensive watch at $3,900. That Mirage, it's actually pretty attainable compared to what other brands are charging for a watch of similar specs. And that's pretty interesting, in my opinion. But tell me what you think in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. It doesn't interrupt your Prime benefits. However, I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.